Most of you know me as the happy-go-lucky friend here at school, and although I always walk around with a smile, my life is not so perfect. Many of us have been affected by cancer in some way, and now my family has been too. By sharing our story, we can become stronger and more connected as a community to not only help my family, but many others that are struggling.
So I have esophageal cancer, advanced stage. Been fighting it for a year, slightly over a year now. And in my case, there's no cure for my type of cancer. So, doctors consider it a terminal disease. It's not if you're going to die, it's when you're going to die.
Cancer is a word you hear every day, but it has a completely different meaning when it hits home.
Well, that's one of those moments, right? I don't think you're ever going to forget. I remember clearly he comes in and he said, I don't want you to get too nervous, but they actually said I have cancer. It's cancer for sure. We just don't know which type of cancer.
Essentially confused, then I went home and being, an engineer and wanted the details, I sort of researched a bit and I'm like, oh, well, okay, this is worse than I thought. And that's where it settled for me. It was probably, I'm going to say a week or so after the diagnosis that it really dawned on me what I'm dealing with. And at that point, you go through a roller coaster of emotions.
I just remember it was like hit us like a brick wall, and that was it.
No cancer journey is a smooth sail. Like many of you, we too have faced hardships.
The hardest part of having cancer is the uncertainty that comes with it. Where you wake up in the morning and you feel healthy and you feel there's no limit to what you can do. I don't, because for me it is, today could be the day that I go down, or next week or the next month.
It can be just a few days ago, he looks like he was about, you saw him, that was what, a week ago? How many times have we been there? Now suddenly, boom, bounces right back.
I think what annoys me the most is not the people I'm working with, but it's the medical community that I'm working with. And what annoys me the most is really the fact that they don't give me a chance.
So one thing I really hate that people do, well, I used to be a victim of it too, is I used to kind of make memes or joke around about it. People do that with a lot of things. But once you're someone has cancer, you kind of hate it. And people still joke around about it oh, I hope you die from cancer and stuff like that, or you have cancer. And it's really annoying. I hear it all the time, and there's just something about it. It gets me so annoyed.
Although daunting, my family has found ways to cope with the disease and establish a new normal.
Got on my knees and prayed a lot, for sure. And it's sort of, when you deal with cancer, you deal with three battles. It's not just physical. You certainly have a spiritual, you certainly have emotional battle, right? So you have to balance all three.
I think this whole past year has just been a tremendous adjustment, I find, for me, both physically, mentally, emotionally, financially. Those are the 4 areas this disease has hit us, the family, but me personally.
The thing I did to cope with the situation, just not think about it at all. Just do activities that would get my mind off of it, either sports or going to the gym.
When it hits you, it hits you. But I would say you got to take a step back, really rebalance what is important. You really have to prioritize, and it's a prioritization that goes, it's every day sort of prioritization for as long as this is going on.
A lot of people tend to overthink cancer and be like, my dad has cancer, and then become all depressed about it. Just to think about the positives. I don't view my dad as having cancer, I just view him as my dad. So I really try not to think about cancer at all. So because of this, it makes me feel better, more alive, instead of being all down, being oh, my dad could die. It's more okay, my dad's here. Now it's use it wisely.
Instead of asking why, I don't ask why. This is life. Life just, throw things at you.
If you get overwhelmed with the fact that there's no cure for your disease and that eventually you're going to die, you're going to die. You have to put that behind you. And you have to totally ignore it and assume that you're going to live forever, and then you have a chance to beat it.
One thing I learned is life is fragile, and you got to use it wisely. Because if you go around just joking like, oh, I hate my parents, they're annoying and stuff like that, or like something bad, you know, the next day your dad could like become sick or die.
Cancer is not a disease that can be fought alone. Here's some of the ways how our local community has already helped.
Well, I think the local community, as I said, has been very supportive. People have been very good in terms of helping the family, checking with me, taking me out.
At the beginning, yes, when the news just comes out, right, then the whole community sort of like just really try to help out, right? They embrace me and you and Bo and so that was really beautiful. So we got a train mill going, right? And then we try to set up driving to Dana.
I think my work and folks in my work have been extremely supportive. So they made this giant card that had basically multiple pictures that they prepared. People put sort of words of encouragement, and they just sent me this giant card, which when I get low and I feel down, I'll open up and read. And it just makes me feel better. If you have a treatment like I had, where you are really in tough shape and you can't drive yourself to the doctor's office, and you just need somebody else to jump in and help, I think some of my friends came in and were able to drive me to and back from the doctor's office. That was extremely helpful.
Cancer is a very long battle. My family is extremely grateful for the help they have received, but here's how you can further come together as a community.
I think it was really beautiful, the amount of support we got. People just really wanted to help. But then it does wane out, right? And that's when you're left by yourself. And that's the tricky part.
I wish people were more flexible in this situation, because most of the time I'll have to make like a sudden change and they'll all like flip out about it, and it's like, I'm sorry, but like my dad's in the hospital.
The stigma is, you got cancer, oh, it's a deadly disease, so let's just not bother them. No, on the opposite, just reach out, talk to us. It's not contagious. So we can certainly, we appreciate when we are part of the community and not being excluded because of our disease.
The help when I need it is very much last minute. And how do you ask when everybody else has such busy life in the United States? Everybody's on the go, 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 go. How do you ask people? This whole disease is a last second. Nothing stays the same. So it's an ongoing battle, how to ask for help.
I want people just to be available, if I need a help in terms of driving or maybe getting to the store. But most importantly, just pray and send good vibes.
We've learned so much through this disease. This is our message to you. One
thing that, looking back, I would have absolutely changed is just slow down. Slow down and appreciate what you have. Never get the time to slow down and kind of smell the roses or look out of your window and say, thank you, God, for what I have so far, right? And enjoy that a bit. And I wish I've done more of that in the past. I'm kind of trying to catch up now.
Don't take life for granted. Don't take your friends for granted, your family. Just don't take yourself for granted. You don't know when it's going to come.
Fellow cancer patients, my advice is, don't lose hope, number one, and stay strong. I'd say the other thing that I'd like other cancer patients to do is to share the experiences, like we're doing this, right? Just share what you're going through, because others can learn from it, and others can sort of build upon it. I know there are some people who just don't share anything and hide it. There's no point to that.
I am only one story of the many that walk among us. I did not share my story for you to pity or feel bad for us. We shared this story for you as the Plymouth community to see the great impact you've already had on my family and how you can further come together to not only help us, but others. Everything, no matter how small, goes a long way. So be kind, check on your neighbors, and help your friends. Reporting for Panther TV, I'm Mila Manick.